Goodwin, and I'd like to read you a short story called No Hard Feelings, which comes from my collection Becoming Someone, which is on the theme of identity. No Hard Feelings by Goodwin. Emily would not have followed that path if she'd known it would lead to the graveyard. All those dead people lovingly remembered. All those people who might have been right bastards when they were alive. A cleft between shoulder-high stinging nettles, the path had looked promising when she'd stumbled upon it on the way home from the day centre. She'd imagined it snaking through field and forest to a runaway secret den. She'd imagined a skinny teen offering her muddy tea brewed in a treacle tin in exchange for not betraying his whereabouts. Instead, she'd pitched up in a churchyard, barely 100 metres from the main road. Once there, she felt obliged to wander around the graves, acting as if this had been her destination, although there were only birds around to judge her. Besides, she had a couple of hours to kill before tea time. She might as well be bored here as in her room. She knew the feelings she was meant to have in such places. Didn't she recite a thesaurus worth of synonyms for sadness every week? The counsellors were nice enough, but hypocritical. Claim your feelings, they said. Embrace your emotions. As if feelings were groceries waiting to be bagged at the supermarket checkout. Then, as soon as anyone showed a smidgen of genuine agitation, they freaked out. Calm down, take deep breaths. And if that didn't douse the flames of rampaging sentiment, they went knocking on the psychiatrist's office door. Emily took note of their insincerity, because she was a hypocrite too. She filled in her charts, circling the words for the emotions she might have experienced that day, had she known how to feel. There were no words in the English language for what Emily had seen, no answering echo in another's soul. But she was smart enough to lay claim to the feelings that would pay for her room and board at the hostel. Whenever her review was scheduled, she threw in a despondent and an anguished to safeguard her place. Wandering between the graves, she rubbed at her forearms. Even though she'd pushed down her sleeves to negotiate the nettles, her skin stung. On her inner arm, tiny red welts had sprung up among the network of scars, like station stops on a rail map. Pain was the sole authentic feeling Emily knew. Worn letters on mildewed stones and weeds growing through the gravel. She'd stumbled upon the old part of the cemetery. Cracked urns atop graves sunken at the belly and edged with shattered stones, right like the rubbled remains of an earthquake. Then, smack between a Percy and a Gladys, she found herself, or at least her namesake, an Emily Blythe, who died 50 years and a day before she herself was born. She'd have a story to tell that evening at the hostel. Curtains drawn, a candle at her chin, she'd spook them, or have them quake with laughter. And then a hand reached out and grabbed me by the ankle. Terror was a feeling she'd circle sometimes on her chart. A dog barked. Emily turned to see a woman walk a poodle across a gap in the hedge. She thought to warn her about the nettles, but other words spilled from her lips. I found my own grave. The woman seemed to shiver as she hurried out of sight. Emily didn't need a checklist to decipher whether it was from fear of a ghost or disgust at her dishevelled state. At least she had no need to worry about dirtying her jeans as she made a daybed of Emily Blythe's grave. Headstone as a backrest, legs stretched out in front. Laughing, she clawed a clutch of soil and stones to rub between her fingers. From her pocket she took a printed sheet and a pencil. Resting the paper on her leg, she began to circle a random selection of phony feelings and stopped. She didn't want to lie anymore. She didn't have to. Something within her had changed. She'd been dead inside, like a ghost, like her namesake, and it was only with the numbness in retreat that she could claim it. For as long as she could remember, she'd been this way, and now, like a storybook granny, picking up her dirty socks and apple cores and scrunched up tissues, old Emily Blythe had taken her deadness from her. She couldn't say yet what she was without it. It wasn't anything on her printed sheet. She wouldn't share her story with the girls at the hostel. She wouldn't tell the counsellors she was ready to move on. Not dead inside was a treasure too precious to reveal to another living soul. But that didn't matter. Now she had Emily and a grave to visit. Next time, she'd borrow a trowel from the day centre and create a garden on Emily Blythe's plot. Thank you. That was No Hard Feelings by Goodwin from Becoming Someone. Thanks for listening.